So the other thing I wanted to touch base on here is kind of the helping you understand the value of a financial plan, right? And how much you should be paying for it. So we talked about the value of a financial plan of fixing an engine, right? So that, if you think about it in the context of a car, the engine is the key component. Like that's what drives everything. So there is a tremendous value of providing a financial plan to a client, especially if they're not knowledgeable and so about finance. So the financial advisor is really spending a lot of time taking all this knowledge and breaking it down into simple concepts that the client can understand, right? But unfortunately, advisors do charge the same for both years 1 and 2 going forward, although years 2 going forward are just updates. They're just updates. So if you think about it, does it really make sense to pay the price of fixing an engine in every single year when you're really just getting oil changes going forward, right? So why are you paying such a huge price? And that's the downside, like we talked about, of the drag of paying a 1% ongoing fee, right? You're paying this ongoing fee, but you're only getting essentially the equivalent of oil change. So when I talk about oil change updates, I'm referring to this, like the review of the financial plan, review of investments, safe spending limits. You're adjusting your safe spending limits, review of life insurance and annuity. Like this is basic stuff. This is basic oil change updates. So if you're paying 1% for just this basic stuff, you're essentially paying 1%, the price of fixing an engine for an oil change. So I say this, to help people understand that this is what most people do. This is the business model, right? Like they're not really making that money in the first year, but ongoing, they're making a lot of money by essentially providing oil change updates for not providing not much value. Now, I want to be key here, and make sure that you understand that doesn't mean that 1%, charging an ongoing AUM fee is not worth it. Because if they're providing essentially engine or partnership updates, which is holistic integration of investment, wealth, tax, estate planning needs, they're looking at appreciated gains. You have appreciated gains in their portfolio. How are we looking at that? Donor advised funds, CRATs, tax loss harvesting. Are they doing that on an ongoing basis? In-depth asset location planning, estate planning. What assets go inside my estate and outside the estate, GRATs versus PPLI. How are you advising on, how are they advising on family dynamics within your family, inheritance, who's taking charge of what part of the holistic family well-being and wealth transfer. So this is more holistic. And if they're providing this is a partnership model. This isn't an oil change update. So this deserves more of a 1% type compensation because it really is a partnership. They're looking over all parts of your financial life, right? So I'll have another video that kind of goes into this, but when I say charging 1%, I'm not saying it's always a bad value, right? Because if they're providing this, it could be great value, right? But if they're charging 1% and providing this, then it's not. And so I think it's understanding what value are you getting for the fee that you're paying, right? So that's the way to think about these things in the context of financial planning, both insurance and a financial advisor.